Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to episode 5 of the Weekly Wob. This week's guest, we have the director of our drumline, Anthony Graves.
Hello. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Of course, no problem.
So this episode is going to be a little bit different than what we usually do. We just have like a Q&A type session that's going to go on. So we have a bunch of questions here that we're just going to ask Anthony. He'll answer, then me and Jake will answer, and then we'll just see where it goes from there.
Cool. Yep. Good.
So, Anthony, this is the question that we ask everyone. What do you feel about the drumline season ending?
It was very heartbreaking to see that that's how that show and how the whole season had to wrap up. It's not every year that you get every member of the group and the staff all on the same page where you're really looking to put on a great production. Drumline is, I know you guys talked about this in previous episodes, but drumline is more than just drums. It's more than just adding a guitar. I know you talked about that, Jake, but it's so much more because it's not just playing an instrument, it's not just playing drums. It's also there's drill, there's choreography. Like if you're watching a musical or some sort of production like that, that whole characterization and thematic element to it is all part of the show as well. So while we're playing the music, we're also marching and doing a whole concept of a show. And the whole thing is we want to make sure that the audience can watch the show for the first time and understand everything right away and like really feel like they're a part of the show. So it was very heartbreaking, especially for the 4 seniors that didn't get to have their championship, as well as all the new members, for the first year members, where they didn't get to finish their first season. And everyone in between, they've done it before, but just not getting to that final, the peak of the season where the show is as good as we can possibly make it in practice. Like it was never at that moment. But we had a great group of people involved in the whole program this year. And even when we were told that we weren't going to be allowed back in the school, I gave everyone the option if they wanted to just like call it a day and all right, see you next season, or if they wanted to come in, finish the show so we could have a recording of it. And everyone decided, yeah, let's come in and finish the show. So we worked hard and we finished all the drill, finished all the music and all the thematic parts as well. And we even had EMC Production came in and he did some video for us to show some of our scenes inside the cells. So I'm sure you'll probably put the link in the description again. But it's definitely this is definitely a great show, and it really one of the reasons for that is just because of the members, how much they bought into it, and they really made the show what it was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, this is a question that I actually just thought of. If you could change one part of this show, what would it be?
That's really hard to answer because, as you know, since you've been around for a while, if the season didn't end, we would have. Sorry about that. We would have finished the show, and then after that, we would have probably made 1,000 more changes to the show. So just organically, the show changes throughout the season. So as of right now, how the show was, I would have left it as is until we actually saw it polished how it was supposed to be. But yeah, I'm definitely sure that there would have been more changes because I know the initial thought was to have the live camera feed, and we were having some issues around that. So we're looking at doing some just showing the clips instead. So we had all those recorded in case that's the way we're going to take. So either figuring out the live feed or getting the clips in would have been the main change. Yeah.
Nice.
I talk a lot, you know that.
Yeah. Okay. So we posted something on our story yesterday asking people to just ask us like questions about music. And Bree asked our next question, which is, what sparks music into your lives?
What sparks music into my life?
Yeah.
Okay. Really, it's something that's just been a part of me my whole life. Just when I was a kid, I wasn't a musician obviously yet, but I remember telling my mom, "Hey, I want to play music." And she was like, "Okay, when you get a little bit older." And I was like, "Can I start now? Like, I'm older now, kind of a thing." Um, and she bought me like a little 32 key Casio keyboard, and if I heard a song on the radio, I would figure it out on the piano. And my ear was developed before my actual music knowledge was. So I just from the beginning, and I remember my like my dad and like some of my relatives, they would just play like Heart and Soul on the piano. I was like, oh, I want to learn that, and then I learned it, and some of my cousins and I we would play it together on the piano, and then a little later on, I moved to New Jersey, and I was able to. I tried to join band a year early again, and they said no. School said no, so I was like, fine. So I joined. My mom always wanted me to play saxophone, and I was like, yeah, I'll get there eventually. So I played drums instead. And then, I mean, as some people may know, after percussion and piano, I kind of jumped into the brass world and learned a lot of brass instruments. And then, I mean, a little bit of strings, like a little bit of bass, but I'm not good at. I can't play guitar at all. But woodwinds was actually like more so the last thing I really worked on, and I'm terrible at saxophone. So sorry, mom. But yeah, it's. I mean, from seventh grade, I knew that I wanted to, in some capacity, be a music teacher, whether it's a full time during the day job, or if it was working with like programs like our drumline and things like that. And it was important to me to keep that in my life no matter what. And I've had a lot of amazing performance opportunities throughout my life, and I want to make sure that I can continue to show those to all my students and even my friends. Like, hey, you can do this type of thing as well.
How about you, Jake?
Oh, how did I get music? Okay. So I remember in fourth grade, like I knew because in fifth grade I knew that we were gonna start playing recorders and music, and no, we already started that, but I think our teacher was like gonna introduce other instruments. At least that's what I thought. And I was like, Mom, I need to learn how to play an instrument so that I can do this in music next year. And she's like, well, what do you want to learn? And I was like, I don't know. So she said, you should play guitar. And I'm like, okay. So I started taking guitar lessons. And, you know, I took them for about a year, maybe 2 years. And then I decided that I didn't like it. And then I stopped. And then we're fast forwarding to freshman year of high school. I decided to take a guitar class again. And since then, now completing sophomore year of high school, I've stuck with it. And I do enjoy it now, unlike before. And in addition to that, I was doing bass drum and pep band. I even though I didn't know a single thing about percussion, I kind of just did what I was told to do, and it worked. But yeah, that's how I got here.
So you listened to your mom play guitar.
Yeah, she told me that the girls would like me if I played guitar. So like, all right, let's do it. And I hate to admit it, Mom, but that has not worked. So. Well, Travis, it's your turn.
Okay. So, first of all, I hated the thought of picking up an instrument. Before I joined Drumline, I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And then
For that.
At the end of 7th grade, I remember being at the final like Drumline meeting after finals, and I was watching everyone. I was like, yo, this is kind of cool. I might want to do this next year. Next year rolls around, and I'm like, no, this is stupid. And then my mom comes up to me and says, "Listen, Anthony came up to me and asked if you wanted to like be in the program this year. Like the director wants you in here." And I was like, "Oh wow, maybe." And then originally I said no, but then it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep because I was just thinking like, is this something I want to do? So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I text my mom saying, I need to talk to you. She gets up, and then we spent like an hour in the kitchen talking about whether I really wanted to do drumline or not. And then I eventually ended up doing it. Obviously, I played rack my first year, and yeah, I first year was okay. Wasn't exactly what I expected it to be because when you're on the rack, you're kind of alone for most of the season. You're just pushed off in the corner. But
There's, yeah, I mean, and the other thing is you were brand new to music, so if, it was, if you were around music like longer at that point, things would have been harder and it would have been more fun, things like that.
yeah, because I remember my first practice, you pulled me into the office because we don't name drop here, but we went into the office and then you like taught me how to read music, and then I came home and Julia helped me read music. That was her. And then throughout the whole season, I had like Brendan and Mike like showing me how to play music. And then after the season was over, I started talking with Brendan and I started taking drum set lessons with him. And then Carnival year came. I was on drum set and I loved every second of it since.
Good.
Heck yeah.
Your mom at 2 a.m. I don't know what I want to do. I can't sleep, mom. All right, what's our next question?
What's the hardest type of music to play? Anthony?
That's also a very loaded question because is it technically, is it stylistically, is it, I mean, because there's a lot of types of music that when you have to really learn, you have to listen to it. So, I mean, if you're, one of the things I always told the jazz band, every time I worked with them at all, I was like, you guys need to listen to swing because if you don't listen to swing, you'll never be able to understand swing. And that goes for really any type of music. Like if you don't listen, if you want to be a metal drummer and you don't listen to metal drumming, like you're never going to understand how they drum and how like blast beats or like double bass drum and like how some of that stuff is incorporated in that style. So that's why it's super, super important to listen to whatever style of music you're about to play. So if you're doing something with drumline, it's important that you listen to groups that are in WGI or DCI and just listen to how they approach their instrument, some of the inflections. Like, I mean, just little things like nuances, like how they accent something might be completely different than how you do it somewhere else. And then like a lot of those instruments, like the pit instruments, front ensemble instruments, are from classical music. So it's a completely different thing there too. So as far as like most difficult type of music, it really depends because if you put in the work, you should be able to do it. I mean, the hardest part is if you don't have the chops to do it. And when I say chops, that means if you're not able to play fast enough, you need to make sure you build up those skills. Like if you're working out in the gym, like, oh, I want to lift up this thing, it's 500 pounds, but I can't lift 100 pounds right now. Then you're going to start, do reps and work your way up. There's also ways to do that with music to help you speed up your hands, your chops, so to speak. So it really just depends.
Man, I was just going to say punk.
Don't worry, I won't slip up like Jake did in the first episode, or like Joey.
Oh my god, that Joey segment.
Or Sarah.
Yeah. You just have a lot of slip ups.
Happens.
It do happen.
So what about you, Jake? What style?
What style of music is hard? Well, um, I need to think about that because I don't know. Because since picking up guitar again, I've played what they told me to in guitar class, which is like 3 chord songs, and then I transitioned to drumline, and you're giving me all this, and it's new to me. I'm like, whoa, what is that? I don't like. That's a triplet. What is that? I didn't know what that was until this year. And as I started to after drumline, like during this quarantine and that summer started, I've just been trying to like soak in other types of music. Like I've been listening to just some. What was I just listening to? I was listening to some jazz music, and then maybe a couple weeks ago I was listening to like just weird techno music. It's just like that's like it's just like a never-ending guitar solo essentially. Um, and it's all very very different, and they all have certain things specific to it that I don't know. It's either skills that I want to have, or am trying to obtain. So I don't have a solid answer on what's hardest, but I was trying to play a solo because the band was trying to play "I Don't Love You" by My Chemical Romance, and I had to bend the string every single time,
Yeah.
and that hurt. It hurt my fingers after a while. I was like, yeah, that was my most recent challenge. So yeah, I'll go with that.
Go follow the UV Sound on Instagram if you want to hear that cover.
We just covered "Ripped Pants" by from in SpongeBob because we could.
And we had a minute to do it
Why a minute?
because my mom said that we had to stop playing at 9, and it was 8:59. So
of course we had to do one more.
You always have to squeeze one in.
yeah. Okay. Next question. How did you find Drumline?
I think you need some water.
You need some water? Well, that's my answer for me. Julia, my sister.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You want to go, Jake? Because you don't want to talk for a minute.
All right. Sure. Yeah. My answer is not that long. So freshman year, I'm in freshman seminar, which was one of the worst classes altogether. And I sat next to Travis, and I didn't talk to Travis much going into freshman year, but since we were kind of the only two that knew each other, we're like, all right, we just gotta stick in this together. And then I don't know if you mentioned it before, but like I know that you came back from Wildwood, and I was like, why'd you go to Wildwood? And you explained it to me. And then in August of that year, you invited me to like the summer rehearsals. And since Matt just graduated and a new guitar player was needed, I was like, hi, I'm here now. That was really awkward that first rehearsal because I didn't know anyone except for Travis. I'm just kind of looking around like, yeah, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to stand. I don't know where to place my guitar. So I'm just gonna stand here until someone tells me what to do.
Yeah, you did.
But that we figured it out. But that's how I got into that. Yeah.
Cool. So when I joined, marching band first. So I knew that there was a couple people in marching band that joined when they were in 7th grade, and I wanted to, but nobody said like, "Hey, we're doing it. You should join too." So they just joined, and then it was already over. They were already through it, and I was like, "Oh man, I missed a year." So when it came around the next time for 8th grade, I was like, all right, I definitely want to join. So I jumped in my 8th grade year, and Highland was going through a switch in directors. There was 5 directors within that time period, and the current director is the 5th one. So when he went in for his first, he had a marching band meeting in July of that year, and I went in and I was like, okay, cool. So we actually started our first official day, my first day in the band, and his first day as the director there of actual teaching students. It was the same day. So I joined the marching band season, went through it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is different. It's really cold, and because like championships went into November, and I remember I was playing in the pit, which is stationary percussion on the sideline, and I was playing timpani and some other stuff. But like before we went on the field, my timpani had a sheet of ice on the drum. So that's how cold it was outside. We were in Scranton, Lackawanna Stadium, and then after that, they're like, "Oh, marching band's over. Cool, see ya." And I was like, "That's it. I gotta wait till next year." And they're like, "No, we have drumline too. If you want to join that." And I was like, "I'm in." And I was the only 8th grader in it that year. So I joined, and I was in the pit, and I played a bunch of different stuff. I was on marimba for part of the show. What did I start on? I think I might have started on like vibraphone. Then I had a marimba part, and then I played keyboard for a minute, and then I played a little bit of rack. So I actually moved around a lot that year. And yeah, that was my introduction to indoor drumline, and it wasn't a good show at all. And then it's a song, like we played a song called Malagueña for part of the show, which haunts my life because we played it when I was in 7th grade for jazz band, and then we played it again in 8th grade because we were recording a CD for the middle school jazz band. And then the indoor show that year was Malagueña and other stuff too, but Malagueña is part of it. And then when I was in high school, the band director was like, "Hey guys, we're gonna play a song called Malagueña," and I was like, I can't get away from it. So yeah, it just haunts my dream. And then when I marched drum corps a little bit later, Hawthorne Caballeros, I don't know if they did it that year, but one of the years I was around it, I heard Malagueña again, and I'm like, I cannot skip this song. So that's my intro to drumline, marching band. Yeah.
Nice.
Last year for concert band, Malagueña was one of the songs we had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Never-
Next question is, what is one instrument you wish you could play?
Guitar. I'm just not good at it. So, I mean, that's the shortest answer I gave so far. But I'm not good at wood, and I'm not really good at string instruments. And I think guitar would be the first one I really want to dive into. And I mean, there's a guitar over there, but I have other instruments I'm like practicing and working on. So
It's hard.
yeah. Yep.
It's hard.
And did you ever get the voice box working? Is that what it's called?
Talk box.
The talk box, yeah.
A little bit. So a talk box is an instrument that you plug. I mean, Peter Frampton made it famous as well, like other people as well. But it's kind of a gross instrument in a way. But like he plugged the guitar into it and then plugged that into the amplifier, and then there's a tube that comes out of it. So your sound comes out of the guitar into the talk box, up this vinyl tube that you put in your mouth, and usually you have a microphone up against your mouth too. So the sound kind of goes in your mouth, like up the tube in your mouth and into the microphone. So it kind of makes like a mechanical sound, and you can say words while you're playing. So I don't. So what I did was I put it through my keyboard in the basement, and I was just trying to figure it out. But it's very hard to articulate like your words. There's certain like syllables, like H's are hard to say. You have to like make the H sound to actually make it work. But it's a cool concept, and we actually almost did it in a drumline show one year. One of the former students, he was a really good piano player, and like we talked about it, and I was like, oh man, I bought a talk box to see if I can figure it out so I can learn it, and then we changed the part of the show that we did. So that's where that was going to be. But TalkBox is pretty cool. I would look it up if I was you guys.
Cool.
Jake,
Trav?
What?
Good.
Jake, what's one instrument that you wish you could play?
Oh, hmm. Drums. Like specifically a drum set. I don't know. It's
Fair.
always seemed pretty cool to me. Not gonna lie, but I mean, I'm struggling with just bass drum, so I don't know. I should probably learn a bit more about percussion as a whole before I move on to that. But that's definitely something I want to look into in the future. That'd be fun.
I mean, they're completely different, just so you know. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
you work on a bass drum. I mean, they're just like rhythms for the most part, but like drum sets are
And, like,
different.
I've tried playing on Trav's kit a few times, and it's just I don't know. I've always struggled with moving my feet while moving my hands, but not that's doing the same thing.
Did you wipe the dust off first?
It's not dusty right now. It actually has dirt on it because it was outside when we were practicing today.
Yeah.
There's no more dust anymore. I've been playing it, but that one hurt.
Dusty, man.
Oof.
Yeah, I struggle with that. I don't know. I just can't fathom like I'm gonna do this with my hands, but I'm gonna move my foot on this every 2 beats. I don't know. I can't do that.
Number one thing, slow it down.
Mm.
Just do it slow, like crazy slow that it doesn't even make sense to slow, just so you can like figure out like what's happening with each limb, and then like you'll start to understand how your body works with itself, and then you'll be able to play it at a little faster tempo.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Travis?
I'd want to play guitar too.
You're
It just
crazy.
seems like a good instrument to play. So I remember like probably about a month ago, there was just an acoustic song that I heard, and I texted Matt, and I was like, Matt, when all this is over, can you please teach me how to play this? And he was like, dude, you need to like learn basics first before you can play this. And I was like, fair enough.
Nice.
I hate when that happens. You're just like, oh, I want to learn this song, and then you like get it one of those instruments in front of you, and you're like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Travis, I'll just have to come over and we'll trade instruments, and yeah.
let's do it.
Jake, do you still have the guitar we use for indoor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you had it or if it's at the school.
Nah, I got it. And Colin has the pedal.
Okay.
Questions. What goes into writing drumline music?
So I mean, as you're doing it, you learn more and more. The more, obviously, the more and more you do it, the more you learn. I mean, earlier on, I was like, okay, I want to write something that sounds cool and is doable, and like that was like in the beginning, pretty much. And even actually, when I was in high school, me and one of my classmates were actually like, hey, let's write a show. And we were going to write like a Nightmare Before Christmas show. And then outside of that, I was going to do like Trans-Siberian Orchestra had an album that was Beethoven's Last Night, or I think that's what it's called. But I actually started writing out like a lot of that stuff in like I had manuscript paper, and I was like writing out like, okay, this is marimba, this is for the vibraphone. I was writing out a score for that. And that, I mean, I found that music a couple years ago when I moved, and it was funny to see. But I mean, now, I mean, I like to have a concept first, whether it's a concept or a thematic show. Have that in mind, and then you can kind of go about your storyline. Like, what do you want to accomplish in this show? Is it just like a basic general concept, or is there like a storyline that you have to follow? And like really the staff and I, we talk about like what we want to do and then like where we want to start like, and where we want to go with certain things. And as I'm writing, like you don't want to, everything doesn't have to play at the same time all the time. So then the texture is too thick. So you want to make sure that it makes sense. There's big moments that you need to make sure that like, okay, this is an impact. And throughout your show, you want to make sure that you have X amount of impacts. But then if you're like, you have to have down moments too, or just moments for the battery, just moments for the pit, maybe just moments for the vibraphones and the rhythm section, something like that. But it really just find your way, whether it's original music or if you're making an arrangement. If you're doing an arrangement, be careful of copyrights. So just be cautious or rewrite, like write up as a skeleton. So the original song will be a skeleton and then like, completely change it off of that. I've done all of the above.
Cool.
And even just say,
Sorry, good. Because I was just like, I know in like popular songs, there's certain sounds, like certain chords that evoke certain emotions. Like, is that a part of it, or is it just?
yeah, every once in a while, especially you of all people, you would know because there's some chords that I wrote that might have been like, hey, there's some 13 chord or something like that's like more dense of a chord, or it might be opened out. I know Mike worked with you like, oh, this is how you should play this chord. But sometimes you think of that about that, but I think more as a big picture instead of like if I want to make a moment that's like dissonant, then it'll be something leading into that dissonance, or something that's leading into a happier moment, like a good resolution versus something that's angry or sad. But yeah, you definitely use that to play on the emotions of the audience.
Nice.
Cool.
What else do we got?
What was your favorite show to perform in, and what was your favorite show to tech for?
That's tough too. So let's see. You would think I would have this answer, but I've never had this answer. Everyone always says, what was your favorite show to teach or that you wrote? I really don't know. There were one school I taught at, we did it was over the top what the Mallet line did. I mean, it was a younger pit, and we actually, like, there were 3 really good Mallet players. So the rack players were brand new and they were having trouble counting something. So I actually ended up mounting other instruments to the marimbas just to make it so that it was like the rack sound and there was a drum set sound to it. So the one marimba player had 2 toms and a hi-hat with a wired pedal, so you can, like a drum set. And one person had a bass drum pedal, and we attached it to like an electronic bass drum. And then the xylophone player had a snare drum. I had a popcorn snare drum that I mounted under his xylophone, and I made a drumstick attachment for the pedal, so it would be a snare drum sound, like it was a drumstick and a bass drum pedal, and like the marimba and the xylophone were playing, and they're also playing a drum set at the same time. So it was like a cool little thing there. There was a cool classical show that we did at the one school as well. As far as marching band, those are some of the cooler ones that I've really been a part of. But when it comes to drumline, I mean, there's elements of every show that I've done that I really like, and there's sometimes spots that I don't like as much. But like, I mean, everyone talks about one of the shows and goes, "Oh, that show sucked." But like, the theme was it was different, and it was the reason we did that show. But the music in that show, if you actually go back and listen to it, the music is actually kind of cool. Transitions are not really good, but the music is actually cool in that one. But all the shows, I mean, a lot of people love My World, which was the first show I was director at Highland for. That was a fun one. I mean, Asylum, I wanted to see where that went. So that was definitely in the running for being one of the top shows overall. Staff and all, we really thought about every detail of that show, and we really did our homework. So I think that could have been one of the strongest shows Highland has done. But as far as me playing in shows, my senior year indoor show, it was just a lot of fast. The show was called Hyperactivity, Paradigm Shift. It was based off of like a liquid tension experiment. Stuff that's a band, and it was a lot of fast playing. And then like there was a cool. I remember the ballad had a cool 4-mallet marimba thing that I played. But it was also cool when I marched tuba in high school for one season. So I mean, it was different. I would probably rather be in the pit, but like it was cool to just say to check that off. That yeah, I marched tuba. So as far as like those type of shows, I mean, other performances that I've done, there's some really cool ones that I'll talk about in the stories at the end.
Nice.
Trev, we got like 2 questions left, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Instagram and get some more questions.
Well, what were your favorite? What was your favorite show, Trav? I know you had a couple.
I mean, it would have been Asylum if we got to finish it, but like since I really don't have a full season to base it off of, I'd have to go with Carnival because it was like a really good group of kids / adults ish. But it was just a fun, like upbeat show, even though we were like evil.
Yeah.
But it was just like a really fun show to be a part of. Okay. Well, question that we have written is, what was your favorite show to write?
So that changed. That's a similar question.
Mhm.
One of the hard parts is that like the more and more I did with design, like these past couple of years, like especially these last 2 years, there was a lot of very, very detailed moments that the staff and I put together. If you saw our notes, it was pretty crazy. Like little things we even had written down. My earlier shows at Highland, I spent a lot of time on the prop design side, so I felt like I didn't have the time to do what I do now. But now, luckily, we have a lot of very supportive parents that come out and are willing to help, like whether it's building a prop or help. We have someone who makes uniforms now, and there's just a lot of great things that we have in place now. But I mean, I liked like the Looney show. I liked making some of those props and some of that design. And I know EMC Production, when he was on staff, he actually did a lot of work with the painting of the props and orchestrating that. And even like there was a bomb in that show where we had a prop drum and a lot of cool things.
Travis just left.
Oh, he had the bomb. He had the
He's
bomb.
got the bomb. Yeah.
I actually still have.
Yep. Exactly. So that's
Yep.
like a
Bomb.
squishy ball that we like painted black, wrote TNT on it, and we put like a wick in it. And in that show, we actually had a prop drum that we opened. They threw the bomb in, and everyone kind of like turned and hid away from it, and it was a dud. So like wah wah wah. Guitar player played that. That guitar player actually is the one that you're playing his guitar. But yeah, I mean, back then there was a lot more that I had to deal with props and stuff like that. We had like a drop cloth thing. We had a brick wall that we had to work with, and the design of the floor was crazy. But then when you look at other years, I mean, bigger versus smaller, we built those steps that were not very safe. Like if you asked anybody from that group, like the Symbol line especially, they were terrified. Even one of the staff members now, when he marched it, he had to go up there with tenors, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm terrified." So sorry, my computer's making a lot of noise. My work computer. But even like this year in Carnival, there were so many props that we worked with, but I was able to like kind of give some of that vision to some of the parents, and then they were able to run with it. And then I would come help them when I could get away from teaching for a minute, just to make sure everything was fine with them and everything was going in the right direction. And I mean, we were able to make great products from that. So as far as designing and writing shows, I mean, I like writing shows. as is. I'm in the middle of writing a Marching Man show for a group that's really not going to be able to do their show this season, but they're going to use the show next year. But I'm in the middle of writing their show. Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. What do we got written here? Okay. I have a great question. So
I'll tell you later. It's
what-
what I think it is.
Oh yeah, it's definitely that. What's the show theme?
Oh yeah. I'll tell you next year.
All right, cool.
Fair enough.
I knew it.
Well, I mean, yeah, you know we had to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you guys said it in what, episode 4 too? When you guys talking about that?
Did
I
we?
honestly forget.
We probably did.
Like after the day after every episode of recording, my parents ask me, "What did you guys talk about?" And I always say like, "Oh, I can't tell you." But truth is, I honestly forget. Like, I'm
Yeah.
recording and like right when the camera's off and like it's been a little bit, I'm just like, "Wait, what did we even talk about?"
Yeah.
I mean, especially now we got band practice on Wednesdays, and then we just go straight into this, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're always just kind of fried by the end of the day. Like, oh, geez, what did we do today?
But we still got that energy.
Just tell them you'll tell them later. You'll tell them on Friday at noon.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my answer from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going off more of the Instagram questions. And Jake, this one is for us. Colin asked it. He said, "When will either of you sing a song?"
Oh,
We'll tell you later.
yeah. Tell you later, dude. Sorry about it, Colin.
Tommy asked, "What are your top 5 favorite artists?"
Ooh,
Oh man.
that's
These
hard.
top questions are so hard. You guys go first.
All right, Travis, go first.
My favorite is Panic at the Disco. Like, favorite band. They're awesome. My second favorite is probably We the Kings, which is a lesser known band. And then Taylor Swift is up there, definitely. One Republic, I really like. And I'm trying to think of a fifth. Adele. I love Adele.
Taylor Swift, she helped me win a talent show, one of her songs.
Ooh.
Maybe I have 2 stories I'll tell later. But yeah, remind me about that one. Taylor Swift.
All right. Okay. Okay. I can't talk right now. Okay. So I'm gonna agree with Travis on Panic at the Disco. They're pretty dope. I've always loved Green Day since I was little. Like, I remember, that was like the first. Like, American Idiot was the first album that I fully listened to, and it's one of my favorite albums still. It's sick. But what else we got? I'm trying to think because it always changes. Like, City and Color is pretty cool. I like a lot of their stuff. And then we got. I'm sure there's bands I'm forgetting, and I'm just not saying them right now. Oh, 21 Pilots. They make some cool stuff. And one more band. I need one more band.
The UV Sound.
The UV Sound. They make some pretty sick stuff, dude. I don't know. I'll go with John Mayer. John Mayer's got some really cool songs. Yeah.
I was hoping you never finished because I have no idea. I mean, I have a very, very open taste in music. So anywhere from rock or classic rock to funk to jazz to rap R&B, hip hop. It's like literally all over the place. Not much country at all.
So
But
yeah, same.
pretty much everything else, though. I mean, I saw Snarky Puppy, which is a cool group. I've seen them a couple times, and I talked to their bass player at a show, one of his side bands, this year, February. And I like seeing them. They're cool. I was really big in the early Dream Theater. I know when they switched the drummers out, like I love Mike Mangini, the new drummer, but it's just a different vibe for the whole band because the old drummer used to sing as well, and he had a big part in the writing process. And it's different. It's not that I don't like the new stuff. It's just I was really big into them. I saw them a few times, and Liquid Tension Experiment is like a side project for that group. And they're like a progressive metal group. So we did funk, progressive metal. On the hip hop and rap side, I'm a big Eminem and Tech Nine fan. I think the way that Eminem puts words together is better than anyone out there. Where you can listen to a song and there's one phrase that might mean three different things, like a triple entendre, and it's incredible that you can do that. Like just say the same thing that means three different things. I don't know. I mean, I'm always a lot of these like big jazz drummers or like a lot of their groups were always great. I can't even give you an exact five. Just every genre has something cool that they pull to the table.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
I like Zed. Zed has some cool switches on songs. Scary Pocket, if you don't listen to them, they're actually a cover band, but they like remake songs. So we talked about Adele. They redid like some of Adele's song and made it like a completely different twisted way that might be funk or it might be a little more rock. But Scary Pocket is a cool group. They did like John Legend. No, they did. They did John Legend song. They did the Beatles songs too. They did Imagine. They just did a remake of that. But like, there's like so many songs. I saw them in concert this year too, and it was really cool. And like afterwards, that whole group came up. They signed autographs. They talked to us for a while. They're really cool. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Next question is from our editor, and
Whoa.
he asked, "What is your favorite song?"
Um.
Can't even play the person.
That varies all the time.
Yeah, dude. You can't just pick one song.
I don't think I can answer that one.
Is that just how we're going to leave it? Just we're not going to answer.
Can you guys, do you guys have a favorite song? You should say.
I mean, not that this is like my favorite song, but right now I'm listening to Skyway Avenue by We the Kings a lot. That's up there for me right now.
Yeah, right now I'm on the side just learning this song by this guy named 2 Feet. He just kind of plays guitar and loops over himself and puts together some kind of cool sound. And he released a song recently called "Felt Like Playing Guitar and Not Singing Part 2." And I've been learning that, and that's just really fun to play. So that's not my favorite song of all time, but it's definitely currently in the top list.
I love when people do the looping stuff like that. There's a couple of people who do it really well, and if you watch, ever hear of Tiny Desk concerts?
Yeah.
The NPR, yeah, they have some cool things on there, and I can't remember her name, but she went on, she played guitar, and then she went over and played like a drum machine type of thing, and went around, did all this stuff, and then sang to it as well. So it was pretty cool. I can't tell you a favorite song. I don't really have one right now.
Fair.
You got any more Instagram questions, Trev?
We have 2 more questions that aren't music related. So
Okay.
my dad actually asked, when was the time in your life that you were the most scared?
Most scared?
Yeah.
Hmm. I guess there was. I mean, this one's not really that scared, but a few years ago, I was heading to drumline practice, and I was turning into the school, had my left turn signal on and all, and a car went around me on my left. So that doesn't make sense. I turned left, the car went around me on my left, crossed the double line to go around me, and crashed into my front driver's side front wheel. It turned my car straight back on the road, but on the opposite side of the road. No cars were coming. And he shot between a light pole and a fire hydrant into the fence at Highland. And they actually never replaced the gate. They took it all the way down. That guy is insanely lucky, and someone must have been looking over him because he was a couple feet away from hitting a fire hydrant or an electric pole. But yeah, that was pretty. It was scary because I wasn't expecting it. I mean, you're never expecting an accident, but that's, I would say, top two scariest moments. Yeah.
My scariest moment will it either be so I think I was like 9 or 10, and we went to Universal Studios down in Florida, and so we're in the Harry Potter section of the world, and they got this one ride where it's like, oh, you're on the dragons from, I think, pretty sure it's Goblet of Fire. Yeah, with the dragon. And I was just barely tall enough because I had high tops on. Yeah. And
Oh,
so I got in, and like I was with my uncle, and we start going, and there's a bunch of twists and turns, going upside down, one of those roller coasters, and like I was starting to slide a little bit from out of the seat, like even though the harness was down. So my uncle's like holding his left arm over me, like praying that I can stay in the seat while we're doing all this crazy stuff. And I'm like I remember at the time I wasn't super scared. I was just like, cool. But thinking back on it, I'm like terrified of it for some reason. I'm just like, oh god, that could have been the end of me.
do you go on roller coasters now still?
Oh yeah, definitely. I still do.
Okay.
But,
I don't know if it was traumatic or not.
yeah. So I'd say that. Either that or like 2 hours ago. Just cause. Travis, who knows why.
I know.
We're just gonna leave that unsaid. Anyway. Travis, your answer.
Okay, so scariest moment for me was when me and Matt were walking back to my house from 7-Eleven at 12:30 at night, and I just see my mom and Julia walking down the street. That was the most terrified I've been in my entire life. Just like the knowing, like, oh my god, this is the end of everything.
You should have just went at 2:30. Should have been asleep by then.
Well, I mean, we're just gonna leave it at that.
You know, I mean, I said that was top two. It's actually top three scariest moments. One that I know, Trav, you were involved with is when we had a drumline the bomb threat at Highland.
Oh yeah,
during a drumline show.
I went to that show. I was the host.
Running. That was pretty
I was not there for the bomb threat, but I was at that show.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
2,000 people at the building and having to evacuate the building, running to the different people saying, hey, like running to the fire marshal, fire police person that was there, the vice principal. I said, hey, we got to clear out. Like, this is terrifying. And yeah, that was pretty scary overall.
That was like a traumatic experience for me, for like everyone there.
Yeah.
I have two stories now too. I'm going to give my perspective of the bomb threat too. Okay.
I have 0 stories, as usual.
Okay, but yeah, and I wasn't even thinking about that. That's a contender for the #1 spot for me because that was absolutely terrifying.
I mean, that's I would say that's more so than the accident. I mean, the accident I was pissed off because someone hit my car. And like it was I didn't lease the car and I bought the car and like someone hit it. So, but yeah, that was just like knowing what to do next. I mean, that night, I mean, I think I told you guys, but I was talking to a bunch of different police officers, detectives that came in as well. One of the police officers actually used to hang around the marching band my 8th grade year because he was dating one of the color guard girls. He was 3 or 4 years ahead of me at Highland, and he was one of the police officers on duty that night. So it was kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And the last question before we get to story time is, what was the most trouble you guys have ever been in?
You want to go first? You got it.
All right. Most trouble I've ever been in. See, like, I don't get into these kind of situations, man.
Good.
I hate to. I mean, I hate to make it sound like I'm, a goody two shoes, but really, that's just how it is. Because before this year, I didn't do too much. I was honestly at home most of the time, but one time, I remember, I was frustrated. So, and I don't remember how old I was. I was probably like 12, maybe 13. I was frustrated. So I got this little like footstool that my brother used, and I threw it at my door in frustration, creating a hole in the door that's still there. And I remember my mom just looking at me from like the bottom of the stairway, just death staring me, and I'm like,
Oh,
shouldn't have done that, man. I don't remember what the repercussions were, but yeah, that was a moment.
You want to go, Trevor? Or you want me to go?
I'll go. So, piggybacking off of the last question, is definitely the trouble I got in when I snuck out. I was grounded for like a week, and by grounded, I just wasn't allowed to leave the house. I mean, I still got the TV, I got the Xbox, I got my phone. It's just I wasn't allowed to leave the house. And like, honestly, it wasn't that bad of a week. I watched movies all week. Cause like that summer, I've been out every day, all day. So it was kind of good to just like sit back and relax for a week.
Oh, the pre-quarantine.
Yeah. The suckiest part of that punishment was after I was ungrounded, I had to be inside my house by 10 o'clock at night. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. So, Jake, I'm similar to you. I've always been a pretty good person, not getting in trouble. So I really, really wish I knew the answer to this part, but like when I was in like it was between kindergarten and 3rd grade before I moved to New Jersey. I got detention. I was at a Catholic school at that time, and I had detention. I can't remember why, and it wasn't anything serious. They just told us like it was me and a few of my friends. They said, okay, after school, go to the gym, and we'll come there, and you'll be in detention. So we were sitting there for about 10 minutes, and we were just like talking and hanging out because we're all friends. And then someone was like, "Oh, I want to drink from the water fountain." So we like ran across the gym, ran back, and it was kind of like a game. And then Miss Diamond, the principal, how do I remember that? She came in and she was like, "Hey guys, like, don't do that." And we were like, "All right." She's like, "All right, well, see ya." And that was it. It was nothing. But I do have one more story for getting in trouble, which it was very dumb. My second year of marching, or second year of indoor, like bunch of the kids were like we were doing our home show, and like we weren't working at the time. We were just like walking around, making sure things were fine. A couple of the kids went up to like a teacher's lounge and just like sat in there, so it was unlocked. And then I saw them go in there, like, and I went in there and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh, we're just sitting in here." I'm like, "All right, this isn't supposed to be unlocked or anything." And they're like, "Yeah, whatever. We're sitting in here." And then I'm like, "Okay." And then I left. And then like later that day, like they're like someone like the director knew, and they're like, "Hey, who was in the teacher's lounge?" And I was like, I didn't do anything." And they're like, "All right, well," and it was right before Wildwood because it was like home show chapters the next week and then Wildwood. So they're like, "All right, so we're going to take away some of your free time in Wildwood." That was our punishment. So I was like, I really didn't do anything. I like walked in there, saw people were there, and said, "We're not supposed to be here," right? And they're like, "No." And I was like, "All right, well, I'm leaving." So I had like, it took away like an hour of my free time in Wildwood. So
Did you just like sit there in Wildwood? Like, what did you do?
I just chilled at the hotel. Kind of like your punishment, just chilled at the hotel. And then and as soon as I was done, I went and did whatever I wanted to do. Or I might have just stayed at the hotel and hung out because I was doing stuff anyway. But yeah, that's the extent of me being in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all ready for story time?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Who's gonna go first?
Not me, because I don't have a story.
I'll tell the one story, the Taylor Swift story. So, my first year working at CDW, it might have been first year, maybe second year, but they're like, "Oh, we're doing a talent show," and I was like, "What are the requirements?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, just do something and we'll judge you for it." And the winner gets like a vacation day, like a Microsoft Surface, a trophy, and like something else too. And I was like, "Sure, I'll play an instrument," but I didn't tell them what I was doing. So everyone else went up. This one girl went up and told a poem about how much she hated work. And we're like, "That's a whole idea." And I went up and, well, actually, someone else told like jokes. Someone played guitar, but he didn't know the song or the words, so he didn't do well. Someone else lip sync. Actually, I think it was a Taylor Swift song too. Two people did, and then I went up and I actually had a vibraphone. I had it off to the side, and the cover was on, so everyone thought it was like a table off to the side. So like, "All right, Anthony, you come on up." And I was like, "All right, fine." And they're like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you gonna do?" So I just walked up with nothing in my hands. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna play an instrument." They're like, "Where is it?" You're like walking to the front. I'm like, "Oh, it's over here." So I wheeled it out, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I thought that was a table." And like, I took out 2 mallets, played something fast, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, how'd you do that?" And then I picked up 4 mallets and played something easy, but they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's incredible! He's holding 4." Non-musicians don't understand. Like, they're just like, "Oh my gosh, how are you doing that?" But and then I don't know, I just played around with fast things, 4 mallet things, and then I said, "Hey, pick a song." And people were like saying random things, and it sounded like Bad Blood, and I was like, "Okay." And I just pulled up my phone, plugged it into a speaker, played Bad Blood off of YouTube, and I said, "I'm gonna figure out the song on the spot." And then I figured it out on the spot, and they're like, "How did you do that? Like, we have no idea how you figured out that song. Do you know it?" I'm like, "No, pick another song if you want." They're like, "No, we don't have time." But like, that was awesome. And then I won a talent show. So, yeah. The next year we did a talent show, and I won that one. And then they stopped doing the talent show. Yeah. So that's Taylor Swift. I actually saw her in concert once when I was in college. Before she was big, actually. She was opening for Rascal Flatts. And I had a friend who like really liked Rascal Flatts. So
Cool.
yeah. What's your story?
Who were you asking?
Either one.
Okay. So, was it 2 summers ago? Maybe 3? I forget. A couple summers ago. We'll go with 2. my uncle lives down in Florida, in Cocoa Beach. So I went down there, stayed with him for a week, and during this week we went to, since oh my god, what's it called? JFK Space Center. You know that place,
That's awesome.
and it was pretty cool. And yeah, we're just walking around, and we stopped to get something to eat because we're hot and because it's Florida, and we've been in the sun for a while. And while we're eating, just torrential downpour just starts out of nowhere. Like it's really Florida, huh? But and it's I remember it lasting for so long. I think it was an hour long. Just rain, just going. It never slowed down. It was just, and there's loud thunder and there was lightning and people are like trying to run from cover to cover, like on like the roofs. And this one guy tried to like pop open his umbrella and it just flew away.
Well,
Yeah. And so the lady had a stroller and she's like covering her baby and trying to go through this. And I'm like, dang, you should just stay where you were, man. But yeah, I remember that being wild. And I'm just there with my uncle and my grandmom. And we're like, huh, this is it's pretty bad. And once it finally cleared up, we only was there for like another 20 minutes, but yeah, it was very, very wild time.
yeah,
Good experience though.
nice.
Cool. So, my first story, I actually got reminded of by Shannon's story last week. So, it was a time when me, Tommy, Joey, and Matt saved a cat. So, we were all riding bikes around for like the whole day. And then we went into the parking lot of the library that's right by our house. So, we're riding by, and then I just like hear a noise that just like didn't sound right. So, for whatever reason, I like got off my bike and decided to kind of like look around to see what the noise was. And I look under a car, and then there's like this little like baby kitten, just like it was like right next to the tire. So my first thought was like its leg was just like stuck under the tire. But like the more I looked at it, it like if you're kind of like grossed out by like blood and stuff, kind of like skip through this part, but it had like a chunk of its leg just like ripped off. Like it was bad. So all of us are like, well, what do we do? Like we didn't call like animal control because like we didn't know what they would like do to the cat, like So
Yeah.
we called the police. Said like there was an injured cat at like the library on X and Y Street. But it took like I guess it wasn't at like the top of like emergencies, but still took them like a solid like hour to get there. And then like the officer came and just like called animal control, but it took animal control like probably 45 minutes to get there too. But the officer stayed and waited with us, and he said, cats are great for pets, but if you die before them, they'll eat you. And that was not the time to make that joke because I was freaking out because I thought the cat was going to die. Joey was yelling at me because I was freaking out. Matt and Tommy were just kind of like chilling. But yeah, animal control came, picked up the cat, put it in a bucket.
In a bucket?
In a bucket.
Like you say that and I picture like a beach bucket. Like you build sandcastles with. I know that's not it, but it's just what I'm thinking of.
It was like,
Was it like a 5-gallon bucket?
yeah. Yeah, and then like thinking like back at it now, like me, like Joey, Tommy, Matt have talked about this. We don't think that cat made it. Like minutes before animal control got there, like it started walking from like one car to another, and our first kind of thought was like animals usually like move right before they die because they don't want to like die like in their home. So like right when the cat started moving, we're like, oh crap, something's about to happen. But then like we just don't think that that cat made it. Like we hope it did, but just like thinking about it, like who knows how long that like chunk was just missing for.
Yeah,
It was sad.
real sad.
It's a real sad story, man.
And then the second story I have is from the bomb threat, kind of like my experience from it.
Yeah.
So me and Matt were together, and we were sitting by the gym entrance door because that was our job that we've been at all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tommy just runs up to us, and was like, "Guys, there's a bomb in the building. We need to get out." And we were like, "Whoa!" But like, instead of leaving, we ran like throughout the school, checking like classrooms and stuff. Like Matt checked the downstairs, and me and Tommy went upstairs to tell people to get out because like no one made an announcement on the intercoms yet.
Yeah.
But like finally, like me and Tommy got out of the building, and I looked at my phone, and it was like 5 to like 7 minutes after the bomb was supposed to go off. So like looking back on it now, like that's terrifying. Like
Yeah. So all right. So I can piggyback off of that. So as soon as a student from another school went up to one of the students in our drum line and they ran up and said, "Someone has this on their phone," and I read it and I went, and I just ran with this kid's phone. I don't even know who they were. I went to the person who's like the fire chief and said, "Hey, this," and he was like, "We got to clear it out the school." I was like, "I know, let's go." He went to the gym and told the announcer like to make the announcement. And the last group was about to go on, and they were like the world-class group. So the gym was at its most capacity of the day because it was like a big group that was about to start their show. And I ran to one of the vice principals and said, "Hey, this," and he was like, "Oh." So he ran back to his office, and I think he was going to either make the announcement or he was going to go do something like get like the other side of the building, tell other people to like get people to start moving out. I told my staff, as a lot of staff left that day, and that was a touchy subject there. But like, I went and I was like, "Hey, get everybody over there. Like, get all our kids accounted for over there. You watch them. I'll take care of the rest of the building." And I was just running around trying to get people. I was telling the custodians like, "Hey, this is what's going on. We got to figure out what needs to happen." And it was very difficult because knowing that there were students at different posts around the building, I knew that the staff member that took them were only going to account for half of the members. So, like, I was like, I hope people are not in the building like you guys were, because I was like running around inside and outside of the building, making sure everyone was clear. And we cleared the building within like under 10 minutes, and then that was prior to when the time was supposed to be. We cleared the whole downstairs and around the building. But then, like, I spent a lot of time after that on the phone, like I said, with the cops and the detectives and all. But then also, I was talking to some administrators who weren't there yet. I was talking to the band director, just keeping him posted, and the supervisor, and then they were telling the principal and superintendent, and it just was a very, very busy time. And then once I had a collective message with the internal people who were from Highland, like myself and the vice principal, I had to tell all the directors. I had to tell all the judges, like, "Hey, this is what's going on, just so you know. We'll keep you posted. Sorry, I know it's late." And, 2-3 hours later, we were able to go back in and let people leave. But, and then we had to clean up after that. So,
like walking back into the building after that was probably like one of the most scariest things about that, I think, because like, of course it was all clear, but just like the thought of like, wow, like there could have just been a bomb in here. Like I remember
Yeah.
I was like walking in that I was next to Sydney, and then I was like shaking. Like I was terrified, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the things you can potentially experience at Drumline. That was the first time anything like that has ever happened at TIA. I think actually in the circuit, but I mean in the activity, but TIA they confirmed that that's never happened to them. So yeah, craziness.
And then at chapters, didn't we like get some sort of like award?
Like the Spirit Award or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then where everyone was there just like, it's because of the bomb threat. That's
Well,
like,
I mean, we think so. I mean, you can never really you never really know, but like
Mhm.
when we were allowing people to come back into the building, like, all the directors and some of the members too, but like the directors that passed through the doors that I was holding open, they're like, "Thank you very much for how you like took care of this event. Like, I know it was very stressful and kind of crazy, but thank you for how you handled the whole event." So yeah, so it was, I mean, they really looked highly of us and how we like not just the faculty, but even the members. I mean, like I said, you guys were actively doing things outside, like, hey, make sure they push back, get people to do this, do that, and it was, I mean, the Highland student, especially over the years that I've been director, it's just the maturity level and the much that we can rely on members has gone up tremendously since from when I was in it to now. It's just I can ask someone to do something and I can not have to worry about it being done or not. Like I know that the people they believe in the program, they believe in the people around them, and they trust them. So it's just a great program to be a part of. Out of all the programs I've been a part of, not just because I went here, but like this is the strongest program I've ever been a part of. Just as far as a collective group of people, even with people graduating and new people coming in, it always recycles itself to being like a good group of people. So I am very fortunate to be a part of this program.
Join Drumline.
Join Drum.
seriously. Even if like everyone who's watching, of course, comes to our school, so of course come out. But by the off chance that some other random person is watching us, just try out, see if you like it. Because I know
School's got one.
when I'm recruiting people, I tell them like come out to one practice. One practice is all you need. If you don't like it, at least you gave it a try. You don't have to come back. But if you do, just keep coming.
So my message to people who are, if you're even on the fence about Drumline, give it one full year because you don't know what the program is like. If you go to one rehearsal, you might be, like you said, you went to your first rehearsal and we talked about how to read notes and you're just like, okay, this is kind of hard. I don't know what I'm doing. Or like, Jake, you're like, I didn't know what to do. So I was just standing there with my guitar until someone told me to do something. Like that's not a highlight of your time in Drumline at all. Like you can speak to that. Like your first day versus like your last day so far. It's like if you give it a full year, and I know you didn't get to finish this year yet, Jake, but like Trav, you know how it is to compete in championships in MAPS and TIA, just prelims or regional championships. Like it's a completely different feeling. And when you walk off the field or floor for a championship, it's just a completely different feeling. Like, wow, the show is actually done. And that was I put all my effort into doing it. So that's the feeling that I want everyone to experience at least once. If you decide you don't like it after that, like, it was cool, but not for me. Then after that full season, then take yourself away. And I've had many members do that. I mean, you mentioned Tommy a few times. He did it. He enjoyed it at times. He didn't, and others maybe. And he didn't come back, and it was fine. It's all whatever he wants to do. But I'm happy someone like him, he gave it the full season.
And our editor Zach, I don't think he'll care that we say this. Like, he joined for like what, a year, quit, then came back.
Yeah, he joined. And then he was like, I got other stuff to do. He was really heavy at hockey and all. And then he like when we finished the show, he was like, that show was awesome, and he was super upset that he didn't get to do that show because he left. But then like he joined right after that, and he stuck with it for the rest of the time. So a lot of times we get that where people join like their sophomore year because they're like, oh, I want to get used to high school. Well, when you join Drumline, you're going to meet 20-something new people, and you're going to get to become good friends with them, and those are going to be people that you can rely on. So getting used to high school, you'll have people to help you through it. Whether they're a freshman or if they're a senior, like they're all going to be willing to help you. So it's one of those things where give it a shot, start it early, and if you like it, continue it. If you don't, find out what you do like. I mean, that's what this whole thing is for. These schools have these activities so you can figure out what you like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to him, not me. Give it a full season. So we about ready to wrap this up?
I suppose so.
We've been going for an hour and 21 minutes.
Wow.
The longest episode.
Yeah, that's the longest episode to date.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
so Anthony, thank you for being our guest. We really enjoyed having you here.
No problem. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
And everyone, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that stuff. Heck yeah.